Well, good morning. It is Thursday, April 23rd, I believe, about 10 o'clock. And today is Thursday, so it's Parables by Peter. And we're going to take one of Peter Rollins' parable from the Orthodox Heretic, and this one's called The Payoff. And so I'll read this one for you. It says, "Once there was an old and learned priest who worked tirelessly in the streets of the city, nestled deep in the heart of an empire ruled over by an elderly king. The priest was greatly respected by all the people and would constantly be approached by those who needed help in all manners of issue. The king in this vast empire had a young son who grew up hating the church. He was disgusted by what he perceived as a hypocrisy and deception. Because of his deep hatred, the young prince would often oversee the imprisonment of church leaders and order the breakup of religious gatherings. But his actions also betrayed a deep jealousy. Indeed, he particularly disliked the fact that there was a priest who received the people's respect that he believed was rightly due him. Why should the people be so deceived by this old fool, thought the priest. He is like so many of his type of cold-hearted liars who sells the people lies in order to live. The prince harbored a burning desire to put a stop to the priest's work, but he did not want to garner the hate of the people. So he carefully devised a plan that he believed would expose the hypocrisy of the priest to everyone in the empire once and for all. He is a poor man, thought the priest. I will give him a great sum of money in exchange for a public confession concerning his hypocrisy and the hypocrisy of the church. So late one evening, under the cover of darkness, the prince visited a priest, and upon entering his home said, I have the power to reach every person in the kingdom through the printed press. For 10,000 rubies, would you write a letter to be dispersed throughout the kingdom in telegrams and newspapers, informing people that you are nothing but a liar and a hypocrite? The priest was indeed a poor man who had been born into poverty and had known nothing but need all his life. He thought carefully for a few moments before finally responding. I will do as you ask, but only under 3 conditions, said the priest. Well, what are those conditions? Replied the prince. First, if I do this, you must leave me and my church alone. Yes, said the prince. Second, you must release those brothers and sisters of mine who are innocent of any crimes. It will be done, replied the prince. And your third stipulation? Well, said the priest after a great deal of thought, 10,000 rubies is a great deal of money, and I am a poor man. You will have to give me time to raise it. I love that parable. And so what's the point of the parable? The point is you have 2 very different people. You have the prince who is supposed to be held in high regard and is jealous of this priest who is also held in high regard by this congregation, by the people that he serves. And so the prince in his jealousy wants to go and get rid of this priest because he wants all that fame and all that glory and everything for him. And so he makes this offer, this 10,000 rubies, and the priest in his wisdom sees what's going on. I mean, he's not dumb. And he says, sure, I'd be happy to do this and print all this hypocrisy stuff, but you need to let me raise the money. And so he kind of twists this back on the prince and says, you know what, your money really doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I can print all this, but people will know otherwise. And so it gives this whole idea of jealousy and why we do the things that we do. And just as a confession, I've been here 7 years now, and for every year our church has been nominated for the Chamber Award of the Year, Member of the Year, whatever award every year. And I want to win it. I really, truly want to win it. I think it'd be good for our church, so we're 0 for 7 on that. But that recognition is what I, want for the church. And I realize we don't do things for recognition. We do things for the glory of God. But, it's nice every once in a while to be recognized. And so in that, I get a little bit of jealousy in my heart for the organizations that do win. And they do great service. Don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying all the other organizations. But there's that idea of jealousy, and I want that recognition. As a pastor and as people of faith, we do all the things that we do, and we don't want recognition for that, do we? We just want to go out and to serve because the one that sees it is the only one that matters, and that's God. And that's all that should matter in our life. So we go out and we serve, and we aren't jealous of other people's recognition. We should not be jealous of all the other people who, are on the radios and TVs and doing all these great ministries and things. We're Mickelson Church, and we do the things we do for the glory of God, and that should be good enough for us. And so, I need to learn to set aside jealousies and anxieties in my heart, and I think we do as well, because we're all like that in whatever profession or role in our life we are. So let's find a way to release that jealousy. Let's find a way to get rid of those things in our hearts that clutter up our relationship with God, and just remember that we do things all for the glory of God. Go forth in that glory, go forth in that peace, and go forth in the love of God. Amen.